So today we continue the summer report series as we take a look at the Chicago Blackhawks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Check out our Instagram at Goal Line Hockey as well. Check out the playlist for the summer report series. Take a look at all 31 NHL teams during the dog days of the summer. Let's talk about the Chicago Blackhawks. Things didn't go completely to plan for the Chicago Blackhawks last season. They missed the playoffs yet again, and Stan Bowman has made some questionable moves since July 1st. So, what is going on with the Chicago Blackhawks? How does the lineup look? How much salary cap space do they have at this point in time? And who will be available, either free agency or restricted free agency next season? So, starting things off, let's take a look at the Blackhawks roster, and we're starting things off looking at the first line. We got Brandon Saad, who they brought back, Jonathan Toews, and Dylan Sikura. So, pretty interesting. A little bit surprising, actually, because I like Brandon Saad. He's been playing with Jonathan Toews since before he got traded to Columbus. He was always with Jonathan Toews. That works. But Dylan Sikura, interesting because we weren't even sure he was going to make the roster last season. There was a lot of hype around Dylan Sikura. When he got signed, there was a lot of hoping that he would be a great player for the Blackhawks and this and that. There were definitely some questions though with him. Obviously, Jonathan Toews down the middle, no surprises here. I think he's one of the best two-way centers in the NHL. Pretty close competition with a guy like Patrice Bergeron, Anze Kopitar, Pavel Datsyuk over the last decade and a half. Those are the top guys. When you think of those type of players, you gotta have a guy like Jonathan Toews in the conversation. Looking at the second line, I really like the second line for the Blackhawks. You got Alex DeBrincat, who we know can be a really good player. He's playing on the wing. He can play center. So, again, you got that more utility. Wingers playing center, centers playing winger. I like that. Dylan Strome down the middle. He really had a great season last year, or really a resurgence for his career, kind of becoming the player that we were hoping he would become when he was with the Coyotes. John Chayka may be thinking a little bit otherwise. He's taking a lot of heat for that trade. And Patrick Kane on the right side. Any line with Patrick Kane on it, you got to say, is one of the better lines in the NHL just because of how good Patrick Kane is, how he makes the players around him better. And these two lines, there's a reason this team has won so many Stanley Cups over the past couple of seasons. They are really one of the modern-day dynasties, and when you can have Jonathan Toews on one line and Patrick Kane on another, that just shows you the depth of this team and how good of an organization Stan Bowman has put together. Now, looking at the third line, Dominic Kubalik, Zach Smith down the middle, and Brendan Perlini on the right side. So, again, we saw a little bit of a resurgence from Brendan Perlini, hoping that he can get some more scoring, get that point total up this season as well. He's playing with some more defensive-minded players, though. Zach Smith brought in with the Artem Anisimov trade. Kind of frees up a little bit of salary. He's a good leadership player. He definitely wanted to move out of Ottawa. Definitely since he got waived by the Senators. I think he's had a little bit of bad blood and a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth with the Senators organization. So I think it's a good move for him. Dominic Kubalik recently brought in, so we're not really sure where he's going to really play and what he means for the Blackhawks, but he's definitely going to be a bottom six player. He could be on that third line, so he could be a pretty nice addition for the Blackhawks. Looking at the fourth line, you got Ryan Carpenter on the left side. I like Ryan Carpenter. He's a good two-way player, a little bit scrappy and gritty. He could score some goals. Pretty good player there in Ryan Carpenter. David Kampf down the middle. Again, he played pretty well last year with the Blackhawks. They're hoping for a little bit more out of David Kampf this year, but hopefully he can deliver. And then you have Andrew Shaw. They bring back Andrew Shaw to the Chicago Blackhawks. How great is that? So it costed them a second and third round pick, but they did bring back Andrew Shaw. Arguably one of the reasons Bergevin wanted to make an offer sheet on Sebastian Aho. Those second and third round picks wouldn't mean much if you got some from the Blackhawks. So Nonetheless, though, Andrew Shaw comes back to the Blackhawks, and that's where I get a little bit worried about the Blackhawks. But let's talk about the defense first. Looking at the defense, you got Duncan Keith on the left side, a really good defenseman, really for a while now in Chicago. He's been one of the workhorses on that back end. He's been the minute eater in Chicago. And another guy that's really emerged and become a minute eater in Chicago is Eric Gustafsson, a really good defenseman that they acquired a couple of years back, and he has really worked well with the system that the Blackhawks run through, and he's really become a really good top 4, top 2 defenseman in the NHL. Then you got the second pair, the newly acquired Calvin DeHaan, who they acquired from the Carolina Hurricanes. Really good pickup there for the Blackhawks. I do like Calvin DeHaan. I'm a little bit worried about DeHaan. I like him, but he keeps moving a lot recently. Is that really good for him? We'll have to wait and see. And then Brent Seabrook on the right side. I think there's something left in Brent Seabrook, but I don't really see him as a top 4 defenseman. So DeHaan and Seabrook could really be wild cards. They could either be really sinking the ship for the Blackhawks next season or really giving them that extra boost that the Blackhawks may desperately need next year. And then looking at the third pair, you got the newly acquired from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Olli Maatta and Connor Murphy on the right side. I think that's a pretty good pair as well. Again, it's a little bit of a wild card. I think Murphy could be the top 4 defenseman playing with DeHaan, other than maybe over Seabrook. Olli Maatta could be in there above Calvin DeHaan by the end of the season. So we just don't know. I think the second and third pair for the Blackhawks is going to be interchanging a little bit if things aren't working, and I feel like I'd rather Maatta and Murphy in that top 4, but that's just my opinion. I do like Seabrook and DeHaan. It depends on how the season goes for them. It could be a quick change. And then looking at goaltending, this hurts me, but you got Corey Crawford and the heir to the throne there for Corey Crawford being Robin Lehner, and that does not sound right for me. Seeing Robin Lehner with a Chicago Blackhawks jersey, just everything he did for the Islanders last season, unbelievable guy. I really like Robin Lehner. I hope the best for Lehner, and hopefully he does play well for the Blackhawks. There's a lot of expectations for Lehner coming into Chicago, and with Corey Crawford's health, you have to wonder, is Lehner going to be playing more games than he did last year, and is that going to be a problem for Robin Lehner? So, taking a look at the salary cap for the Blackhawks, they have a little over $3 million in cap space right now. They do have to sign some restricted free agents next year, though, Dylan Strome and Alex DeBrincat, and they also have some goaltenders to sign as well. They have Corey Crawford and Robin Lehner coming off of their contracts at the end of next season, so definitely some things to look at there for the Blackhawks. I would assume Crawford and his $6 million kind of just comes off the books, and Lehner probably gets a little bit more of a deal starting next season. And then the only restricted free agent right now for the Blackhawks is Brendan Perlini, which he'll probably go to arbitration. I believe he's arbitration eligible, and he will get that deal done then. So, taking a look at the Blackhawks, do they make the playoffs? I hesitate because I'm not sure how much better they really got. I like certain aspects of this team, but some of the moves that Stan Bowman has made this summer are a little bit questionable. Looking at the DeHaan trade, I like DeHaan. Is he better than Gustav Forsling? Maybe. It's tough. Olli Maatta, in a trade, again, you have to start to wonder, what are the Blackhawks thinking here? What are they trying to get? And I don't know. I just don't know how much I like Shaw being brought in for a second and third round pick. How much more is there left of Andrew Shaw? Remember the last time they made a move to bring someone back? I'm talking about the Brandon Saad move. It didn't work so well. It blew up in Stan Bowman's face. Is that going to blow up again here? So let me know what you guys think of the Chicago Blackhawks. Do they make the playoffs? That division is just so tight. You got the Winnipeg Jets in that division. You got the Nashville Predators, the defending Stanley Cup champions St. Louis Blues. Minnesota fell off a little bit, so maybe they get a little bit of breathing room with a team like Minnesota. But there's that is a really tough division, and it is not going to be easy for the Chicago Blackhawks to get back in. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Check out our Instagram at Goal Line Hockey as well. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.